Hello everyone, how are you? In today's video, we will guide you through the process of setting up a VPC peering connection in AWS. You will learn how to connect two virtual private clouds to enable seamless communication between them. By the end of this tutorial, you will have the skills to establish and manage VPC peering connection in AWS. So if you are new to this channel, kindly like, share, subscribe and comment your thoughts. Let me know what you liked and what you didn't. I will try to make some recommended videos out of you guys if you have any. So sit tight and enjoy. So welcome to this tutorial of VPC peering connection. So those of you who already know about VPC peering connection, you can also watch this. I will also show you how to connect particular EC2 instance. I will spin up two EC2 instance in two isolated VPCs and then we will connect with each other. And this is for something new for those who are very new in this VPC peering connection section. Please bear with me and this will be very interesting for you. So what is VPC peering connection? So VPC peering connection is a privately connected connection which will actually so from one resource to another resource, or basically from one VPC to another VPC, it's a privately connection and it's behaves like they are both on a same network, but it's actually not. They are isolated from each other. The IP address of those two VPC must not overlap. So as you can see in the picture here, in VPC A, the IP address is different, like 172.31.0.0, and the another one in VPC B, the IP address is different, that is 10.0.0.0. So both of the VPC which needs to be peered together must not have a overlapping CIDR group. The connection is not transitive. Resources can be launched in any of the VPCs. So there is no hard and fast rule that there is no constraints that the resources cannot be launched in any of the VPCs. And communication, and there is no single point of failure for communication or a bandwidth bottleneck. There is no bandwidth bottleneck. We can utilize the overall bandwidth of the particular network. We have to keep in mind couple of things before doing a connection of VPC peering, that the only one-to-one relationship exists for one VPC to another. We can create multiple VPC peering connection for each of the VPC that we own. For one VPC, the active peering connection, that is default, is 50. It can be adjustable to 125. And you cannot have more than one VPC peering connection between two VPCs at the same time. So it must have one unique connection between one VPC. So here, as you can see in this picture, we have VPC 1 and VPC 3 are connected, and VPC 1 and VPC 2 are also connected. So we have to create the VPC peering connection for all of them individually. That three connection we have to create. That means as VPC 1 and VPC 3 are connected and VPC 1 and VPC 2 are connected, that doesn't mean that VPC 2 and VPC 3 can communicate with each other, because there is no active connection between these two. So there must be one active connection for each of the VPC exist for which you want to communicate. So in that case, if VPC 2 and VPC 3 needs to communicate with each other, there needs to be one active and unique peering connection exist. Next is that, yeah, VPC peering connection is okay, but it's not also, there are also a couple of disadvantages. So think of it as an organization. If you have large number of VPCs and if you have large number of AWS accounts, and if you need to connect to that particular AWS accounts or all of the accounts one by one, then VPC peering connection will be very complex, because from one VPC to another VPC, that means from one account to another account, you need, if there are 900 accounts, you need 900 VPC peering connections. The maintenance of the peering connections and everything is a huge complex, and the complexity rises whenever the network rises. The harder, yes, this is what I wanted to mention, that the harder to maintain route tables compared to transit gateway. Taking into the disadvantages, or taking into the point of these disadvantages, there are a couple of alternative way of doing this VPC peering connection. Couple of these are AWS private link, transit gateway, and direct connect. So these are a couple of new technology that AWS launched, where we can connect the VPCs privately. with each other without using this VPC peering connection, which can be complex when it will be at scale. Now, yeah, there are disadvantages that exists, but couple of organization, or I know couple of them, are still using VPC peering connection because they are not that much big, and this is very easy to set up. So in this next session, or in this next lecture, I will give you one demo how VPC peering connection actually works. I will set up, let's go to the first picture. I will spin up two EC2 instances in two VPC, in two VPCs, and then we will connect from one instance to another instance via this VPC peering connection, and we will show you from the scratch how to do that. So bear with me, and let's go to the hands-on now. Now, I'm in my management console, as and you can see this is the launching page of my management console, and I will be using North Virginia region for this demo. You can use whatever region you want, you want to use. So first of all, if we see the picture, we need to create two VPC. So by default, AWS gives you one VPC, which is the default VPC. So let's go ahead and look into that. So if you go into the VPC console, you will be able to see the VPCs in your VPC section. On the name your VPC, there is a default VPC already exists. The tenancy is default, and this is the default VPC. What we can do for ease of maintenance or ease of viewing purpose, I will change this VPC name to default VPC. Now this is my default VPC, and we will launch another VPC which is not the default one, but this is our peering connection VPC. From this VPC, we will do the peering connection to our default VPC. We will create the VPC, and on creating the VPC, I actually need VPC and more, because if I click on this option, then AWS will create all the route table subnets and everything for me, so we don't have to worry about it. Now, the name I need is peering connection. So this will be my peering connection VPC. The CIDR block, I will not change it. So this 10.0.0.0, this is fine, because my other VPC, if you remember, we have this 172 CIDR range. So this is fine. Those CIDR ranges are not overlapping with each other. So we can do our VPC peering correctly. Now, we don't need any IPv6 CIDR block. This is fine. And tenancy is default. This is fine. Number of availability zone is 2, public subnet is 2, private subnet is also 2. This is fine. Private subnet, I don't think I need one, but it's okay. It's okay. NAT gateways, I will select NAT gateways one in one AG, one availability zone. I need the NAT gateways, so this is also fine. So I will enable the DNS hostname and enable the DNS resolution as well for this VPC. And apart from that, will not change any other settings, and I will launch this. I will select this create VPC, and the creation of the VPC will take some time, because whenever there is a NAT gateway creation is there, so to enabling or activating the NAT gateway takes time. In the meantime, let's go to our default VPC and check one thing, if the DNS hostname and the resolution are enabled or not. So I will refresh this one, and I can see in my default VPC the DNS hostname enabled and DNS resolution is also enabled. If this is not enabled, then from the other VPC peering connection, my connection to this VPC will not work. Anyway, and my peering connection VPC is also kind of, it shows that now it's available, but I really doubt it. But we have to wait for some time. Anyway, so let's wait for some time, and I will come back when this VPC is totally available. Now I can see the NAT gateway that we tried to create is now available. So my VPC is now configured. So if I go back to our VPC, I can see my two VPC, default VPC and peering connection VPCs are there. This is fine. Basically, we don't actually need the NAT gateways, but anyway, it's good to have it. And now if we go back to subnets, we can see a couple of subnets are created, and let's see, let's give it a refresh here, and we can see here these are the subnets that is created for the peering connection, and these are the subnets that is for the default VPC. We will see it later how this is beneficial. We have this route table as well, This is peering connection route table, and these are the default VPC route table. Now let's go to the EC2 management console and create two instances on two separate VPCs. Let's go to the EC2 management console. So this is my EC2 management console, and on the instance section, I will launch instance. So the instance that I will be launching in default VPC, I will name it as default, and then it is the Amazon Linux 2. I will not change anything. Key pair I don't need. Basically proceed without a key pair, and then on the network settings, SSH traffic is from anywhere. I will allow another HTTP traffic to this default connection as well, and the default HTTP internet traffic also will be from anywhere for this instance only. Why? I will show you later. On the networking section, I will select that the VPC only here. I think in the network section, the default VPC is being picked up, and apart from that, I don't need to change anything, and that's it basically. And then I will launch the instance. So let's launch the instance, and on the instance section, I will launch another instance. Then I will see, or I will name it as peering EC2, and this, if you have if you can guess, this we will launch it in the peering VPC connection. So on the same network settings, I will edit it and I will change this to peering VPC, and on the peering connection not one, I think on the public one I will launch, and then I will select that the auto assign public IP address is yes, this is fine. And then apart from that, I will not change anything. I might, yes, we might need this SSH connection, so the SSH from port 22 from anywhere is fine. I don't need HTTP connection. Why? I will show you later. So let's launch the instance. So one instance is launched on my default VPC and another instance is launched on my peering VPC. So the default instance is launched on the default VPC named as default, and the peering EC2 that is launched on my peering VPC named as peering EC2. And I can see that both of the one of the instance is still on pending status, but it should change anywhere. Yeah, it is in running status. Now let's go to the default VPC one first. If I click on default VPC, and I can see public IP address is also there, so I will connect this default VPC now with EC2 instance connect, and then I will connect it. Let's go to the peering EC2 instance as well, and let's connect it as well. Now I can see. Okay, let's check the EC2 instance now. So my default VPC, my default instance, which is on my default VPC, the private IP address starts with 172. And if you see my default VPC, the CIDR range of my default VPC is 172.31. So the IP address should start with 172. So this is fine. So I am inside of this EC2 instance now. And other EC2 instance, the IP address starts with 10.0. And this is my peering connection VPC where it starts with 10.0.0. So one instance is launched here, another one is launched here. Now on my default VPC, that is my default on my default EC2 instances that is launched in default in VPC, I will launch one website here. I will just launch one hello world website here, and I will try to access the website from our browser. So let's do that. So to do that, we have to first change the user to super user, sudo su. Then we have to do some update, and then we have to install httpd. This will say that all the packages will be installed. If you are okay with it, I am okay with it. So this will be installed, and then we have to start this HTTPD service, and then we have to enable HTTPD service. So my HTTPD service is enabled, and this has created one HTML folder in my www folder. So now we have to change the user. So to change the user, this is the command for this. So we have to change the permission for the user to this folder, and we have changed the permission of the folder to this particular user. Now we will write something on this HTML file just to show that in the browser. So we will write this. So we will just write echo. So we will echo hello world, and we will write that to our HTML index.html. So this is fine. Now the writing is complete. Now let's go back to EC2 console, or what we have to do. I think we have to just start this HTTPD once and again enable it. That's it. And we go back to our EC2 instance. We select our default EC2 instance, and then we select the public IP address of it. Before that, check the security group, and we see that port 80 is open for all. We paste it here, and we see the hello world. So this hello world, or this page, currently hosted in my default VPC EC2 instance, and this is working correctly. Now what if we want to access this particular website from the other EC2 instance, which is hosted in the peering VPC connection? So here in the default VPC, I have launched my instance. Now what if I want to access the same web page from the EC2 instance that is launched in another VPC? Let's try to do that. So I go back to my other EC2 instance, and here I will do curl and then the private IP address of the EC2 instance, that is this one, or I will select this one here. You can also take it from there. So I will select this one, and I will paste it, and then a slash, and let's see. So it's not working. So we can see that eventually it will get a timeout error. So it says that, so it will not work out. So from my other VPC connection, or from my other VPC EC2 instance, it is not able to get to this particular EC2 instance. So we have to do something about it. So this is what we wanted to do. What we have to do, we have to create a VPC peering connection now. So we go back to this console, and we will just disable it now. So as this connection is not working, there is no meaning of running it. We go back to VPC console. Now what we wanted to do, is peering connection. So on the left hand side, on under your VPC, you will be able to find the peering connection. On the peering connection, we will create the peering connection, and I will give it a name as peering connection. So who is the requester? So the requester is my default VPC or the peering connection VPC. You have to give the vice versa. In this case, this is my peering VPC, or peering connected VPC is trying to connect. So this is fine. Now here, sorry, on the requester section, this is my peering connection VPC, and I have to select the connected or the accepted VPC. And the accepted VPC is in the same account, that is in my account, and in the same region. I'm using the US East 1 region. So this is fine. So, and I will select the other VPC, the default VPC, as the peered accepted VPC. And I will simply not change anything, and I will create the peering connection. Now, as this is in the same account, you have to accept the request. As I'm in the same account, so under action, I will accept the request, because this will the peering connection. So if the request is going to another account, then you have to go to that particular account and accept the request. As it is in the same account, I will just accept the request. And then if I accept the request, now the next thing that comes up is to send and receive traffic across the VPC peering connection, you must add a route to the peered VPC one in or more from your route tables. And another thing is the DNS settings. The DNS settings for the requester VPC needs to be allow the acceptor VPC to resolve DNS of the host of the requester VPC in the private IP address. So this also needs to be allowed. So first of all, I will edit the DNS settings of my peering connection, and I will allow both of them, allow acceptor VPC and allow requester VPC to do the DNS resolution, so that they can, whenever I will do curl on the private IP address, they will resolve, the DNS resolution will resolve, and it will properly connect to the other VPC network. So I will save the changes now, and then let's go to the route table. So in the route table section, you see I said that there are a couple of route table has been created. Now we have to um, we have to properly connect these two route table. Now this is my peering connection route table public, and here we see that two subnets are explicitly associated. So let's go to these two subnets here and let's check what are the subnets. So we can see that there are two subnets, that is B2F4 and 1835. These two subnets are associated, and let's go back to our EC2 console. And here is the peering EC2 instance, and let's go back to the networking and see which subnet it is associated with. I can see the subnet is B2F4. That means this is fine. This is my correct route table. I am inside my correct route table, and so there is nothing to associate here. But for my default VPC, now you see here the default VPC, this is the default VPC, this is the main VPC, and we have to also explicitly associate the subnets here. And I hope this is the one. Yes, this is the one. I hope this is the public subnet. Now let's see. On my EC2 console, let's go back to the default EC2 instance now, and under the networking, I see which subnet it is. So it is the C37C. And on the route table itself, that is the default public VPC route table, this one, this is oh sorry, this is the only one. And under the subnet association, we see that, I hope this is C37C, this one, C37C. So this subnet needs to be associated explicitly. So you can do this, or you can select all of them and save association. For this demo purpose, to make it very easy, I will just associate all the subnets to this particular route table. Still, if you go here and do the curl, this will not work. Anyway, now the route table and subnet association is fine, but did we do the routing? I don't think so. So let's go back to our public subnets here where we have done, and okay, here, this is the public route table. Yeah, this is the public route table, and this is the subnet association is also done. Now on the routes section, you see here, so what this route tells us. So if it is a route that is going to anywhere, you talk to the internet gateway, or if it is a local route, you only stay inside of it. But you remember, we are trying to go to this particular CIDR. So for this particular CIDR, there is no route associated in this route table, or there is nothing mentioned here, so the connection doesn't know where to go. So we have to edit the route, and we have to add a route, and we have to add the CIDR of the other VPC. That correct. So we have to add the CIDR of the VPC here. Let's go to VPC console again. I can just type it there, but to be familiarized with it, I'm just showing it how to do that. So you just copy it, the IPv4 CIDR range, the total thing here, and you come back to route here and paste it here. So this is my peering route table, and in the peering route table, you need to associate the default default VPC CIDR block. So this is a vice versa situation. You will see it. And on if, so I'm saying in my peering subnets, if any CIDR range or any connection related to this CIDR range comes, you consult with the peering connection. And which peering connection? The one that we have created. and I will save the changes now. So this is now complete. So anywhere, if you want to go to internet, go to internet gateway. If you want to stay in the local network, remain in the local network. If you want to go any other this particular CIDR range, then talk to the peering connection. Now we will check, does this work? No. Why? Because on the same thing, the same connection or the same routing configuration, we have to do in the default VPC route table as well. That is here, the one that we have associated all the subnets. And in the default route table under route, we have to edit the route, and you see here, this is the default route table, or this is the default VPC CIDR range, and we have to add a route to this, giving the CIDR range of our peering VPC. And on the peering VPC, so here, and if there is any connection that comes with this CIDR range, talk to my peering connection, and I will save the changes. Now both of them complete. So one route table, my peering connection route table, holds the route for my default VPC VPC routing, and my default VPC peering connection route table contains the routing for my peering VPC connection. So both of them are complete in vice versa case. Now try to curl this 172 and you see that or hello world works. So the main funda is that you have to create the peering connection in both of the route table, one VPC. So if you create the route table connection for this VPC, you have to select this route as well for the peering connection. And if you on the same thing on the VPC B route table, you have also to point it out that if you want to go to this particular route, talk to the VPC peering connection, and both of them you have to do it. So this is how it works, and this is how peering connection works. Now you understand, right? That whenever your VPC grows, suppose for this 2 VPC you are doing this, whenever your VPC grows, suppose 4 VPC, 6 VPC, anything at all, you have to do the same configuration to each and every VPC route table that you need to connect, and you understand the situation where it goes really complex and it goes really tiresome to keep a track of the connection that we have created before and that we have to create again. So it is really complex situation, that VPC peering connection, how it works here. So alternatives are also there, you can also try that, but for smaller organizations, this is really nice. This is a really nice way of doing it. This is cost effective as well, and it is really easy to set up as well for if you have smaller VPCs. So this is what I wanted to show you here in this particular lecture or in this particular demo. I hope you really like this video. So if you are new to this channel, kindly like, share, comment and subscribe, and let me know what you liked and what you didn't. I will try to make some recommended video out of you guys if you have any. And for those who have already there for long, I hope you like this video. Please do comment your thoughts here. I will be back with another exciting video. Till then, take care. Goodbye.